It's time to pack your bag. 2016, we've had our Star Wars fix. There is nothing more to look forward to in December.
That's no moon.
Okay, so it has been like a crazy ride to get here. It's been quite the journey, but we're finally here. Rogue One, A Star Wars Story is in cinemas. It's weird to think that The Force Awakens came out a whole year ago.
Yeah.
That was the revival of the Star Wars franchise, and it was absolutely brilliant, and it brought back everything we love about Star Wars, and now we have another one. And I gotta say straight off the bat, I also love this one, and I'll tell you guys why. What about you, Dale?
I enjoyed it a lot as well. I don't know, yeah, we were talking earlier, it might be hard to decide where it ranks among Star Wars movies until a few viewings.
Yeah, it's hard. So I spoke to a few people and they've said it's their favourite Star Wars film. Some people are like, you know, it's not the best, but I'm sort of thinking I need to see it a couple more times to decide, because the Star Wars saga, I've seen each movie like a million times. Force Awakens even, so I can't even say whether I prefer this to that because of how many times I've seen it. Once I've seen this a few more times, I think it will rank up very highly. So the basic story is, and we're not going to go into any detail in this video, we're going to make a spoiler video for that, but the basic plot is that the Rebel Alliance are, well, they're forming and they're stealing the plans for the Death Star, which is obviously the big super weapon from the first Star Wars film, and this is about how they acquired those plans, and sort of, it's almost a Rebels origin story at this point. But yeah, like I said, that's all the plot details I'm going to give you right now, because there is a lot that happens in this movie, a lot goes on, and there's more to it than that. So,
and a lot of people just don't want to know anything going in, because I'm guessing a lot of people had The Force Awakens spoiled for them, because, you know, there was that one select phrase you could say that kind of ruined a huge portion of the movie. I'm not going to say it, because some people might not have seen it.
Everyone's seen the movie.
It's only been a year. But,
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people kind of were burned by that, so they are very...
Including myself, actually,
Yeah.
and I know how upset I was.
I didn't get spoiled, so...
Yeah, but
right.
like, this movie has so much more going for it than you would expect, because we already know the story of how the Death Star gets destroyed and what happens. But what this movie does is it just takes Star Wars in a new direction, because it gives us a plot that we've seen before, but it takes it into its own hands and it describes how this happened. But by doing that, they make a very different Star Wars film, and a much more violent and dark Star Wars film at that as well.
Yeah, being that this is set before A New Hope, some people might be thinking, hey, we know exactly where this is going to go, we know exactly what's going to happen after this.
You don't.
It cannot change anything. And I remember seeing a quote from, I think it was someone who worked at Pixar, when it's like, when you make a prequel, it's all about the journey, because you know where the destination is, so you have to make the journey interesting, which is, you know, exactly true of this movie, because there's stuff in this movie that you never heard about happening in A New Hope. There's stuff that you see that, you know, is a lot different from what you've seen in the original
characters
trilogy.
We haven't met and their stories, and it just gives us a lot more insight into what happens in the Star Wars universe, you know, when we're not seeing Jedis. And that's what's good about this movie. Like, the Star Wars saga is about ultimately the Jedi and the Skywalker family, and this one gives us an entirely new set of characters. There's not a Jedi in sight.
Yeah,
it's just this group of misfit rebels. It's almost Guardians of the Galaxy-ish, where we've got a group of sort of misfit characters, but they're put into like a completely different situation, and it's more of a sort of threatening situation.
Yeah, we should probably speak about characters, actually.
Yeah,
because the characters, they're this ragtag group. So you have, we have Diego Luna, is that his name?
Diego Luna plays Cassian Andor, who is almost the leader of the rebels, kind of.
Yeah, he was alright. I didn't feel too much for his character.
Yeah, he was just sort of there. But he was great. Diego Luna did a great job. And you got Felicity Jones as the main character, Jyn Erso. And what I love about her is that every protagonist in the Star Wars saga, you've got Luke Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker, Rey. They don't know their family.
Oh, triggered. No, I'm joking.
No, you don't know their family. And in this one, straight up, Jyn has a family. You don't really get to know them well, but you know that they're there, and you know that she knows what her background is, and there's no mystery behind her, really. It's all like...
There's no Jyn, like, Skywalker theory.
Yeah, there's no theories like, who are her parents? You know, we know this because if you've seen the trailers, you know that her father, Galen Erso, came up with, like, the Death Star sort of thing. He was involved in building it. So we know a lot about her father going in, and that's different to anything from any other Star Wars film, because obviously we know Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father, but he didn't know that, and we didn't know that going in, so we didn't know where Luke came from originally. And it's very good that they did that. So I'm glad that Jin's a completely new protagonist for a Star Wars film. That was great. Other characters, we've got these two almost like spiritual warriors, Chirrut Imwe and Baze Malbus. They're like the dynamic duo of this film. They're sort of like...
They were like these temple guardians or something.
Sort of thing. And this is where it gets closest to the Jedi sort of... Because Chirrut Imwe, you know, he can channel the Force and everything.
So, yeah, supposedly.
So, yeah.
You never really, you know, get it confirmed.
Yeah, but it's the closest thing we've got to a Jedi in this movie. But, like I said, it's just good they take new turns, and the battle scene alone was absolutely brilliant. And I've got to say, this film has the greatest ending to a Star Wars movie yet, in my opinion.
Oh, there are some scenes at the ending that will make you just, like, scream.
We will definitely spoil the hell out of that in the next video.
In the spoiler.
But once you watch this film, and if you're a Star Wars fan and you see the ending of this film, you are going to be freaking out, because it is just such a great way to end this film. And it's such a great way to tie into the next wave of Star Wars movies. And I was worried, sort of, because we've seen how prequels have dealt with that before. They're sort of heavy-handed, and George Lucas, when he made like Revenge of the Sith and stuff, he went back on himself. He went back on things that had happened in the other Star Wars films that just now don't make sense by those movies. But with this one, it makes complete and utter sense, and everything actually leads in, rather than like stuff being said that will sort of change what happens in the next movie. So that was great as well. So I'm really glad that they didn't, you know, ruin the saga that's to come, because this one, it's a story that never needed to be told. We didn't need to know it, but I'm so glad that we do, because I absolutely love this movie. It's up there with those Star Wars movies that I call my childhood favourites. This one will become a classic, I can tell, just like The Force Awakens. And like I said, I can't rank it entirely because I've only seen it the one time, and I might see it some more times and find maybe some flaws with it, or maybe, you know, some things that I like more about it. So it's hard to rank it right now, but as it stands, it is a very solid entry into the Star Wars franchise, and I love this film a lot.
I can agree.
Yeah.
I think that's the first statement.
Yeah, I mean, stay tuned for our next video. We will be getting into those details, so if you want to know and you've seen the movie, then stay tuned for that. But for now, this has been our review for Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. And also, we got to think about it now. This is the first time we've ever had a good Star Wars prequel. Let that sink in. Mind blown. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.
Bye.
It's a space station.